So what is the purpose of an approval trial?
So the purpose is to validate the performance of the oil against the OEM's procedures, but the validation process ultimately results in a no objection letter, and an NOL is your approval then to be able to sell your additive package or your lubricant into the market.
So do the ship trials always stay the same, or do they change regularly in terms of what's required?
I would say they don't change regularly, but they do change. And we have seen some changes in recent years. MAN Energy Solutions introduced their MAN Cat 1 and Category 2 requirement. That was a major change for us as additive company and for lubricant companies in the way we validate our oil. Alongside that, we've also seen WinGD introduce their DF validation. So I think what we can say as we move forwards, that OEM validation procedures are going to change and evolve. It could be around engine designs or components within those engines, but I think we'll see them continue to evolve.
In terms of the ship trials that we run then, how do we prepare for those and what do we do today?
We use what we've termed the wheelhouse approach, which really goes through pre-trial activity, start of test, mid-test, end of test, and reporting. And that really covers the whole process of running a ship trial.
Okay, so let's go through what the pre-trial activity looks like then. What does that consist of?
One of the first things we've got to do is identify a partner that's prepared to work with us on bringing these new products to market. And once you've identified a suitable partner, we can then move on to the next step, which is identifying a suitable vessel. There are steps within steps as we look at the vessels, the engine types, where those vessels are operating. And in our mind all the time, we're thinking, okay, where does this vessel visit? Are we going to get access to it? How do we get oil on board? How do we get people on board to conduct inspections? Whilst we're going through all of those activities, we also ask the ship owner to provide us with information about the chosen ships. And we'll be looking at maintenance data, we'll be looking at scrape down analysis, we'll be looking at scavenge port inspections, at the types of fuel that they're using on board. So we can build a picture of those ships and their operations and how we would work within the patterns of operation of those vessels. Before we can choose any of those ships, we have to have the engines approved by the OEM. So the collection of data serves two purposes. One, it gives us a level of confidence in the engines that we're looking at. And two, it provides us the information that we can then take forward to the OEM and say to them, we'd like to use this vessel for a validation trial. Is it suitable? They will then provide their approval to use that engine, and we can then move on to the next step.
Okay, so is there any pre-work or modifications that we have to carry out to the vessel or to the engines before we start the trial?
Yeah, dependent on the test type. Under the MAN Category 1 and Category 2 procedures, they've got what they call a service test. And within the service test, the vessel engine has to be fitted with a split lubrication system where, for example, if you've got a 6-cylinder engine, we can feed a known commercial oil to 3 cylinders, for example, and the candidate oil to the other 3 cylinders of that engine. So we install a split lubrication system. It's not required for all of the lubricant validation trials, but certainly for some of them. We do that installation in coordination with the ship operator and with the OEM. We then commission the system to make sure that there's no leaks, that the electronics talk to the right parts of the system, and we can leave the ship in the knowledge that the system is complete and fully operational.